I'm Morgan Campbell. I'm from Detroit originally, but now by many ways, literally I came here from the UK by ferry, and that was really wonderful. And I'm a postdoc at the University of Leeds. I've always been interested in the gendered representation of the city and the gendered experience of the city. So particularly starting with Paris in the 19th century and these really interesting accounts of the department store as kind of the first acceptable space for middle-class women to go on their own. So always this relationship between consumption and women and being allowed to be in public. There is a direct correlation between patriarchy and capitalism, and that becomes even clearer in the ways in which it unfolds in cities. And so I have these long-standing interests in even in say Paris, particularly in the late 1800s, the ways in which women, rather than working in the farms, rather than going to the factories, their main opportunity for upward mobility was to come to the city and maybe work as a shop assistant. And this very interesting, I think Walter Benjamin writes about it, but this very interesting moment then also when you have ready-made clothing and this idea that, well, if every woman can afford nylons with no seam, how do you tell, which is who's the prostitute and who's the middle class woman? And I'm constantly asking myself is, what would a post-gender society look like, and what do we need to do to get there? For the past 10 years, I've worked in India, and it wasn't necessarily a place that I thought I would spend so much time in, but India offers a lot to think about in very positive and very, contemplative ways. And so in particular, my work is with young women who have to very literally, in terms of daily mobility, navigate a city such as Delhi, which is dominated by patriarchal norms. If women have to use private modes of transport, taxis, cars, in order to feel like they have freedom to get around a city and to feel safe and secure, what does that mean for the future of our cities in respect to environmental sustainability and in respect to gender relations? This idea then of women having to choose between getting around and feeling that freedom as an individual, but at a larger social cost, is something that I really want to think about and try to get more people to think about, because it's neither either or. And as we probe further, it's about class, it's about race, it's about religion, it's about all of these factors. And so this is what we need to do as feminists. What I see in Delhi and some of these cities is in some ways a very similar repetition of what we might have seen in Europe in the 20th century. And for me, it is a fascinating process to observe the simultaneity of new development and 21st century technology just sweep India by storm. And again, the ways in which these tensions between tradition, modernity, and the present always unfold in a woman's body, a gender body space. And how is it that gender is almost always at the forefront of how women access space, how they are engaging with it, and how is that tied to capitalism, and how is that tied to the city?